All right, good afternoon, class. Today, we're going to perform a method of research, explain to you a scenario about the character named John. John works for a factory where he has to wash his hands at least 10 to 15 times a day because of the type of work he does. I want to do some research on John, but I'm having a problem with John because John, he washes his hand. When he washes his hand, he washes his hand too long. John suffers with obsessive compulsive behaviors. So when John washes his hand, he sometimes uses all the soap, or sometimes washes his hand too long. Make marks in his hand. So I'm coming to John to explain to John, because of your diagnosis of obsessive compulsive behaviors, you're messing up your hands by washing your hands, the way you do. But John is giving me some backlash. He's telling me he has to wash his hands several times a day because of the type of work that he does. So I'm coming to John, telling John, we're going to do some research on that about you washing your hands too long. So I recommend to John, the CDC recommends you only wash your hands for 20 seconds. So John takes about, every time he washes his hand for at least a minute, which is too long. So we're going to start this research with John. Like I said, I recommend it to John. He agreed to it. And I showed him some research that the CDC said you're only supposed to wash your hands for 20 minutes. So I'm going to use some measurement procedures, when doing my research with John. This selection is most appropriate data collection procedure relies on several considerations, including the characteristics of the research settings, the target behavior, and the dimensions to be assessed. All right. So this method I'm going to use is perfect for the setting. It relies on the setting. I'm going to use an intro recording, that duration collection sheet on John, trying to decrease the time that John washes his hand. So every time John washes his hand, I'm gonna give him a stopwatch. He's gonna time it. So I gave John a time limit of 20 to 30 seconds to wash his hand every time he washes his hand. So he's gonna log that using the illustrated data recording duration form, which should look something like this. It's in your book on page 25. It's figure 2.3. I'm going to write the participant's name, John. I'm going to write the target behavior, washing hands. I'm going to write the date. He's going to write the date. He's going to write the start time. He's going to write the stop. And then he's going to write the duration of the time he's washed his hands. So each time he washes his hands, he's going to log this. And at the end of the week, John will turn this in to me and we'll go over it. My solution for John is, let's work with this duration sheet for a week and then we'll go on from there. Trying to decrease his time of washing his hands from 1 minute to at least 20, 30 seconds each time he washes his hands so he can keep himself safe. The part of this scenario that presented the most challenges with me was, convincing John to not wash his hands so long. John argued with me about he having to wash his hands at work because of the type of work he does. So that's his argument. So just getting John, I agree with John. You have to wash your hands, but we can cut that time down from you washing your hands because when you wash your hands, he's hurting himself and he's using all the soap. So we're going to use, again, an illustrated data recording sheet for John to wash his hand. We're going to record the date, the start time, the end time, and duration. So we're trying to keep this down, minimum 30 seconds a wash. Thank you, guys.